I had a short do 45 million views on YouTube. Facebook doesn't pay as well, but I have an easier time getting views on Facebook. My most popular character on my YouTube channel is called Lil Ghost, and he's just a tiny ghost. The Lil Ghost shorts might not spread very well at large on YouTube, but they get the best reception critically from the comment section. There was like a 2-year period where I was making zero money from YouTube, and I was posting on YouTube only because I wanted to stay relevant. I went from 20,000 subscribers to 200,000 subscribers in a few months just because I never stopped posting. It took a year from 200,000 to 1,000,000 subscribers. Cutout animation. Basically, all your characters are digital puppets. If you're watching Rick and Morty, they do a lot of traditional animation, I would assume. You really ought to look up Explosum and Cyanide Happiness sometime. I don't want to look like I'm ripping them off. Instead of dots for eyes like theirs, I would have circles for eyes. And instead of stick figures, I would make mine simple but fleshed out. Hi, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are things on your end?
Not too bad, thanks.
Whereabouts are you based, right?
Oh, I'm in Utah in the USA.
Oh, okay. What time is it
Yeah.
over there at the moment?
It's 10:30 p.m.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa, super late.
That's okay. I'm a night owl, so it's perfect for me.
What time do you sleep?
Uh 4 or 5-ish in the morning usually.
Wow.
Yeah. What time is it over there?
It's currently 3:30 p.m.
Oh, cool. Right on.
Oh, so you usually work throughout the night, usually, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. Just kind of works for me. I don't know.
How long have you been rocking with that schedule?
Uh kind of well I've been self-employed since about 2011, and so it's always been kind of a version of that. I have a really hard time sleeping, so my schedule like changes all the time. So it's not consistent. I have a sleep disorder that
Oh,
yeah, my body doesn't respond to the normal circadian rhythms. So my day is about 30 hours long, give or take.
30 hours long.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the exact number, but it feels like that because it pushes further and further and further until all of a sudden I'm flipped again.
Yeah, what time do you usually wake up if you sleep at 4 or 5?
I'll usually wake up around 2 or 3 p.m.
Got it. That's so cool. And you've been operating like this over the since 2011?
Yeah, back when I still had a day job, I would only get a few hours of sleep a night because I just couldn't sleep.
That's crazy. Ryan, I guess
Yeah.
we're already recording so we can sort of
Oh,
smoothly
okay, cool.
jump into things. But yeah, tell me about that transition. How did you transition from working a normal job to what you do now?
Well, I had been doing comics on the side since 2008, and when I decided to take the leap to go full time, I I needed to get a lot of freelance work because I wasn't able to live off of the money I was making from comics, but I knew that I wouldn't be able to focus on my own content if I was working a day job. So I ended up getting some work from I used to work in 3D animation, so I got a lot of 3D animation work and a few storyboarding jobs here and there, and just slowly was able to survive on that while still working on my own content.
That's awesome, Ryan. And are there any 3D animation, storyboarding, I guess, movies or shows that we might know of that you worked on?
Not 3D animation. I did mostly like medical renderings and stuff like that. But storyboards, I worked for about 4 years. I worked for Cyanide and Happiness. I don't know if you're familiar with those guys on YouTube. And they have a website called explosum.net. You might recognize their cartoons if you saw them, but they self-produced a season of their own TV show. I mean, they've done multiple seasons, but I worked on some of their animated shorts, doing some writing and storyboards for a few years. I would say the biggest thing that I've worked on, I did some freelance work for these guys, a studio called Lowbrow Studios. They've been a really consistent freelance gig of mine over the years. Really cool people, and I have about 4 seconds of animation on an episode of Saturday Night Live because I
Oh,
animated with them. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
that's so cool, Ryan. I guess over the last 6 months, what has been your main focus? Has it been your own comics? Has it been freelancing? Has it been the social side of things?
Yeah, I actually haven't needed freelance work for almost 2 years now.
Wow.
So my primary focus is animation. I don't actually draw comics very often. I repost old comics on Facebook because according to my analytics, when my animations and comics do really well, it's mostly new viewers. So my regulars are like, "Why are you reposting this?" And it's like, "Well, believe it or not, I have a million followers, but a small fraction are seeing my stuff. It's all the algorithm sends my stuff to new people. So the reposts help get new people, and then I'm always doing new animations and stuff like that. So yeah, but I primarily my biggest following is on YouTube and on Facebook. I have a pretty big following on TikTok, but that doesn't honestly doesn't do anything for me financially, so I don't post there as often as I used to.
And with the YouTube, how long are your animation videos usually? Is it like short 60 seconds, 3 minutes, 7 minutes, 20-minute
Yeah,
episodes?
no, they're 15 to 30 seconds long. It's all I'm on the shorts feed. I don't currently do a lot of regular YouTube videos. It's all shorts.
Got it. And how long
Hmm.
have you been focused on doing short form animations for yourself?
Since 2021, a friend of mine told me that I should start turning my comics into short animations on TikTok. It was when TikTok was getting really popular, during the pandemic and stuff. And at that time, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, none of them were doing short form stuff. It was all like basically what everyone's doing now. They were just copying TikTok. And I was a little apprehensive about getting on TikTok to do my animations because I wasn't sure what work would be involved and what the payoff would be. And I finally gave it a whirl, and my stuff exploded immediately on TikTok. It was a better response than my comics ever got. And so basically, I just was turning my old comics into short animations that were just bite-sized jokes. And initially, I was able to make some good revenue through TikTok before they changed how they did things. Before that, I was doing comics, and to be totally honest, comics have never been very lucrative. I always just hoped things would change. I don't know what it is about my stuff. My stuff would go viral, and it would be shared on all the big sites, but I had a hard time getting people to go to my website. I mean, that's not even a thing anymore. People don't go to websites for content. But at the time, I made my money from people viewing my content on my website because of ads. And I didn't make anything from social media at the time because that wasn't monetized, which now it is, which is good for creators because all those social media sites were making a lot of money off of us just trying to get exposure. And if I don't know if I answered your question, I feel like I just veered off.
No, that's cool. With the
Yeah.
shorts that you made for TikTok, did you just instantly know how to create hooks, how to retain people for 30 seconds, and did you instantly know how to like create like a story arc hook and then a payoff, or was it just all luck, or yeah, how did you consistently go viral?
Um, well, the 15 or so years of doing comics definitely my my knowledge of constructing a joke, not to be nerdy about humor, but like my knowledge of constructing a joke was very honed by the time I started doing my own animations. And then my time working for Cyanide and Happiness, basically a storyboard artist is like a director with a pencil or pen. So when you're given a script and an audio track, you are planning out the visual beats, the visual gags. You might even be involved in editing the pacing of the audio because you are telling the animators how to present the content. And of course, it still has to be passed off on by a director, but you're basically the director's first stop. So, working for the Explosive crew for 4 years, from about, I think I worked there from 2014 to 2017, 2018 ish. That really, I learned so much from them. I don't think I could have gotten off the ground with my own work as quickly as I did without knowing them. So yeah, it was just a combination of learning storytelling, learning joke writing. I went to college. I went to school for animation. So I just and then a passion project of mine has always been audio production. So I ended up realizing that I could just be a one-stop shop for myself. And I really believe a well-produced, well-acted audio track will sell your animation more than good visuals. Good visuals are important, but if you have good visuals but a crappy story or crappy audio, people are going to pass by you. So yeah, I would say Doing the shorts was something I was always capable of, but a little afraid to dive in because it is a lot of work. And if you're not going to make money doing it, it is kind of like a little daunting. So when things started taking off on TikTok, I just doubled down.
So cool. I guess for the viewers watching that are creating, like a lot of our viewers are content creators, do you have any tips on how they can maybe get better at going viral? I guess the general advice that you always hear is like study viral videos, transcribe them, study the hooks, replicate it, redo it for yourself. Is that the way to go? Do you have any advice, Ryan?
Those things you just listed are not things I've ever considered, to be honest. I would say if someone's main goal is to create a viral video, studying viral videos makes sense. But my goal isn't, I mean, I want my videos to be viral, but I'm trying to I see myself more as a comedian on the internet than a viral video creator. And I'm trying to make the funniest thing. Like, I still don't know why some of my videos don't do well. I'll put out something that I think is hilarious and it falls flat, whether that's an algorithm issue or a me issue. Sometimes it is algorithm because it'll fly on YouTube, but not Facebook or vice versa. And I don't know what the difference is, but I would say whatever someone's specialty is, like if someone is makes viral videos about car mechanics or something, I would say charm and appeal is very valuable because delivery is everything in my opinion. The way lines are delivered for me specifically, the way lines are delivered or jokes are delivered, keeping them concise when I'm editing or writing something, I cut out anything that feels like excess. Even if it's not necessary, sometimes I feel like the brevity makes things easier to share for people. So that would be one thing I would say to someone who's trying to make viral videos is don't man, what do you call it? Yeah, just cut out the excess in your dialogue and what are you presenting. Just present the best stuff. Even the stuff that feels like it's necessary might not be.
Love that answer. I guess an example would be, let's say I want to get a clip from this conversation we're having over the last 15 minutes, and maybe I just clip that last answer on you sharing your process on how you go about making a viral clip and your answer of just focusing on as much value per minute, sort of compact it, remove all the filler. So I sort of do the same thing. I compress your answer. I try to keep your answer as condensed as possible. And I guess I post it online, and I guess for me it feels like a valuable answer, valuable clip that a lot of people will get value from. If the clip flops, what does that mean? Does it mean that it was just luck of the draw? Does it mean that your answer was bad? Does it mean that there wasn't enough music in the background and I should have made it more interesting and add animations? How will I know?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. It baffles me a lot of times why something works or something doesn't, you know. I feel like if I knew how to answer that question, and you might have just been it might have just been a rhetorical question, but when I think about your question, it's like I feel like if I knew the answer, I wouldn't have the videos that fall flat, you know?
Ryan, have you been checking a look at the Sora AI stuff, or the AI generated videos?
No, I haven't heard of that. What, Sora, is that what you said?
Yeah, Sora, I think it's a new thing from OpenAI.
Okay.
The animations have like a crazy realistic. But I guess even if we take it back 6 months ago, have you seen the video generated AI videos by any chance? Of
Are
like
you
the
talking about like those it's like Bigfoot or something? Like the
oh
Sasquatch
yeah, the
videos?
Sasquatch, or like that video of the rabbits jumping on the trampoline.
I haven't seen the rabbits one, but I thought yeah, the Sasquatch ones blew my mind. I was surprised how good it looked. And I wondered what the process was to make those videos, like how much trial and error. Were those voice actors or was that generated too? I don't know a whole lot about it, but I'll tell you it's terrifying as a content creator.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah, because
Yeah.
it being in your space, what is the workflow like to create a 30-second story animation at the moment, and could AI eventually do that in 30 seconds?
Yeah, for me, I do a full work day. It's usually I record the voiceover track first, I edit it down, then I bring it into my animation software, which is Adobe Animate. I draw basically the basic pictures or like a storyboard of what I want, and I edit the audio to fit a visual pace, and then I animate it, and it takes a full work day, sometimes a little more. And yeah, I do think AI is eventually going to replace what I do, and I think about it all the time of how will I adapt in a way that I'm still going to need and want to make a living as an entertaining person. And I don't know what that's going to look like in 1 year, 5 years. It's honestly pretty terrifying, but right now, there still seems to be value in what I'm doing and what other people like me are doing. And I'm hoping someday, I do hope that we still value human created stuff, even if the AI stuff becomes really good. I'll still want to seek out songwriters and not listen to AI music as much, except for novelty, if that makes sense. But I don't know what people are going to desire. It's hard to know, and I'm still trying. I talk to my wife about it a lot, just like brainstorming how to adapt. Like, do I need to be someone who learns how to use AI tools but still writes content? Or does the AI write the content? Like, who becomes the person who earns from these automatically created things? You know what I mean?
Makes sense. When you talk about your workflow, how do you go about fitting the voice into the animation? I guess you can always cut out words, make it shorter. You can speed things up, but then now the audio might sound a bit funny if you speed it up compared to the rest of it. What's that process like?
If I find something is delivered too slowly, I do most of the voices myself, so I'll just re-record the voiceover. Yeah, I don't usually do a lot of speeding up of audio tracks for time saving. I do a lot of cutting out things and, trimming things down as we've talked about, but for the most part, because I'm writing the jokes myself and delivering the jokes myself and animating them myself, I get into a flow where I pretty much know what's going to feel good. And yeah, if I really need to, I can jump back on the mic and fix it. But I think if I was working with other actors more, there might be a little more back and forth about that stuff. But yeah, I'd say for the most part, if that's the case, direction is going to be what it's all about. When I have had voice actors help me out, I usually ask for a few different versions of each line: faster, slower, do one that sounds crazy, it's one that's very mundane, and it's kind of fun to cut things together differently.
Love that. When it comes to idea generation, how do you go about that, Ryan? Are you always brainstorming? Do you have like a list of ideas? And with your daily shorts, is there like a through line lesson or moral to them? Or is the moral just like try to make people laugh?
Um, I'll answer the last question first. I don't know that there's a moral to my humor, but it all seems to tap into human condition. Like, even the things that seem absurd or surreal feel very human, because I like to make jokes about just it's so weird being alive. And I just like to make jokes that kind of turn that on its head. Whether I do that well or not, or whether that comes through, I don't know. But I think my humor is, if there was a moral to my humor, it's to not take existence too seriously, because I'm constantly aware that it's gonna disappear someday for me. So I just want it to be fun and weird. As far as idea generation goes, I've gone through a lot of phases over the years, doing this as long as I have. One of my favorite methods, even for the shorts that I do now, I still like to, whether it's on lined paper or in a document on Adobe, I like to just have three panels, and I will just force myself to write a joke. I don't usually start with a plan. It's like an improv game that I play with myself, and a lot of junk gets written that way that I just throw away. But it usually inspires something fun during that session, where I either refine a joke that I've written, or it sparks a new idea and I do a new one. But if I just keep it to stick figures and I force these bad jokes out, I used to call them, well, it wasn't my phrase, but there was an artist years ago who did what he called 200 bad comics challenge. And he just forced himself to write 200 horrible comics in as fast amount of time as he could. And I tried it just to see what that was like. And that turned into my writing method. So I still do that today. The artist's name, just to give him credit, I'm trying to remember I know the comic was called Nedroid, Nedroid. I forget the artist's name, but if anyone wants to look that up, look up Nedroid 200 Bad Comics. So yeah, I would just call them my bad comic session. I'd tell my wife I'm going to work on some bad comics, and that just meant I was going to write jokes. I will tell you, I am aware that AI is not going to go away, so I have experimented with how can AI help me write. I don't use jokes written by AI, but I will ask AI. I'll use ChatGPT and ask it questions, and I'll give it a list of joke ideas I have, and it is like talking to a writing partner. It's really cool. I make sure that it's more of a brainstorming tool I don't want to rely on it to write my jokes because I think that they would suffer, and I think people would be able to tell that it's not me anymore until AI is sharper than that. It's a really fun brainstorming tool, but yeah, I try not to rely on it, if that makes sense.
I love that. What's your current volume at the moment, Ryan? Are you doing one short, which is based around one joke per day and going everything from brainstorming session, picking the best one to filming the audio? What's your volume like each week?
Yeah, I need to have more discipline because I wish there was a solid answer. I like to do as many as I can, but I don't always have an idea that I find worthy of it. And I would say I get two or three animated per week. And then on the off days, I'm usually writing or working on other ideas that I'd like to pursue at some point. So yeah, I would say I get two or three finished per week. I'd like to up the volume, but writing and planning and then animating, they're all such different hats that it's really hard for me to jump around each day to each different hat, you know?
Love that. And I guess what keeps you motivated at the moment, Ryan? Does it ever feel mundane, or do you love it so much where it feels like you're just having fun every single day?
It never feels mundane, but it sometimes is disheartening. Well, I've had periods where nothing's landing and I don't know why. And I seem to have a spike in stats and a valley in stats every month. And so there's usually some point every month where or I tell my wife, like, I'm not going to make any money this month. Nothing's working. And then I'll have a big week and everything's fine. I haven't had a month yet where I'm in the red. So I have to just trust that. But the fact that it seems to be so volatile, makes me hate the job sometimes. But I feel very fortunate every day that I get to make dumb jokes and draw pictures as a job because I've been trying to do this since 20. I started doing comics in 2008. I quit my job in 2011. I've been trying to make this my day job for over 10 years before I finally got to do it as a day job. So I was starting to feel crazy, you know. And in 2021, when things started to take off for me, I was on the verge of just quitting altogether and getting a studio job because it just wasn't working. It was always my side gig, you know. Yeah. I get so sidetracked. I forgot what your original question was again.
On that sidetrack, was there a leap of faith where you're like, hey, I think things are going to work out, so let me go all in on this? Or did you already have proof that, hey, this is now making money, I can now quit?
Um, to quit doing freelance or when I quit my day job.
Freelancing. Or
Yeah, it was. Sorry.
was the freelancing period the period where you're like, hey, this isn't going to work out, I might have to go and get a studio job? Was that during the freelancing stage or was that during the job stage?
Oh no, that was during. Oh yeah, that was in the freelance stage where I was freelancing but doing comics on the side, trying to make it my day job. Yeah, when I stopped doing freelance 2 years ago, it was at a point where I just was. I realized I had more months in a row where my YouTube and Facebook revenue was covering all my bills in a way where I could say no to a freelance gig that month and keep focusing. And then all of a sudden I was like, I might just start saying no altogether and double down. You know, I have some really understanding clients where they would reach out to me on a job per job basis. Those lowbrow people I was talking about earlier, they would reach out and I'd say I'm not available this month, but hit me up again later. And it was just because I things were working and I wanted to keep making it work. And it that happened a few times where I just was like, actually, I think I'm just done being a freelancer. And I might be a freelancer again someday. Who knows? But 2 years has been it's been really cool. It's been awesome. But when I was doing comics and freelancing, there was a year long period where I had actually stopped doing my own comics. It was 2018. I stopped doing my comics because they just weren't working, and I got hired by a company that basically wanted me to do my comics only in their style. They wanted me to be like a staff writer and write and animate for them. Basically the same stuff I was already doing, just with their own style. And so yeah, I quit doing my work to work for them. And then when that job didn't work out on their end. They were relying on investors for their funding, and when their investors disappeared during COVID, I lost my gig, and that's when I started doing the animations of my own. So yeah, there was a period where I was like, I don't think I can keep doing my own work, my own art. It's not working. And so it's weird that I am surviving solely on my own art finally.
That's so beautiful, Ryan. And then during that period where you were like, hey, I'm gonna say no to these freelancing gigs because maybe I could just double down on my own stuff and make some more money on YouTube and Facebook Rev. Did that doubling down, extra focus lead to a double in the revenue you're making from YouTube, or um, like was it worth turning down the money from the freelance job to double down?
Yeah, it was worth it. I don't know that it made me double my income, not right away for sure, but I watch my trend, and my trend is going up. So I can tell that, when I would get freelance, you would see things trend up and then go down a little, trend up, because when I'm doing freelance work, I don't really have time to work on my own stuff. So it was very much a juggling act. And to not be juggling anymore, I can see things every year trend up. So even if it seems like two steps forward, one step back sometimes, it's always up, which it makes me really happy.
Right now, how do you go about tracking your progress? Do you aggregate the views from all the platforms so you have a more, or do you just look at each Facebook stats, YouTube Studio separately on its own? Yeah, how do you go about tracking your progress?
I Yeah, it's pretty loose. I do just go to both sites, and I have like my insights open on both screens of both sites and just kind of watch them loosely. I think I'm not the most analytics based type person, and I think I should be. It'd be cool to like start tracking things more technically and see what the trends are without just glancing.
Has it, I know you peak every month and then you sort of go through a valley. Has it been going up and down on an upwards trend? Do you feel like it's sort of a flywheel effect, or do you feel like it
Hmm.
might have plateaued over the last few months, or how do you feel with the stats? What do they look like?
No, it's still going up. It's still if it's kind of interesting because the trend for views is has been different than my trend for subscribers. I did go through a plateau in gaining new subscribers, and I don't know if that's just that people have realized subscribing doesn't matter. I don't know if you notice when you watch YouTube, but
Yeah.
half the time the channels you subscribe to don't come up, and then the thing that you watch all the time will come up every time, and you don't realize, oh, I never subscribed to this channel, but I see it in my feed every day. And I don't know if we just organically feel that as viewers, but my views are going up, but my new subscribers is going up at a much slower rate these days.
Got it. And do
Yeah.
you think the views are going up because people are recognizing watching you previously, and then I think then when they see you again, they're like, oh, this is something I recognize. I got a payoff before, so let me watch this new short that is in my feed. Any hypothesis, or do you think just things are getting better and it's reaching newer people? Or
Well, I hope that people get excited to see my art again. Like, I hope they go, "Oh, this guy made me laugh. I'm gonna watch the next one." I'm not totally sure. I do know people share my stuff a lot, and that's what made my comics initially was the viralness, the viral aspect of it. People enjoying it and sharing it. I do know. I mean, I say I know. I would assume a big part of it is I've been on YouTube. I've been doing the shorts on YouTube now since 2021. I have 4 years of content up there now. So everything is it's just like a swell. So I think that could be why things are trending up too. Is the more content I have, and hopefully more content and better content. It'd be one thing if I just started making really bad stuff. Uh, but I think I'm consistent with my style and my humor, so I think that helps. And I think that could be why things are just trending upward.
have you seen the old videos from a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago still being pushed today?
Occasionally, yeah. There's a few different categories, and like I said, I don't have specific numbers, even though I should. But I'll go watch old videos and look at the analytics for an old video, and there's some that got a ton of views when they first came out, and they might be tapered off, but like they're still getting views. There's some that I can see didn't get any love for the first year and a half, and all of a sudden got a spike, and I just didn't realize that it had happened. And then there's some that I still think are hilarious and that did really well on a different platform that are still just a flat line from 4 years ago. And I'm like, well, I wonder what could make that one finally take off, because it has the fuel. It just needs the fire, I guess.
Interesting. I've been recently posting a lot of short form content on my TikTok, on my Facebook, and my YouTube. And I think I'm looking at the CPMs. It might be like, I don't know. I might make $1 for like, I don't know, 10,000, 100,000 views. I need to look at the numbers. I don't know what it is. I'm just guessing. But then for a normal long form YouTube video, it'd probably be like a $5, $6 CPM for every 1,000 views. But as I'm doing it more and more, I'm like, and especially listening to you, Ryan, it seems like there might be a possibility for me to cover all my bills with just short form content and views, maybe. That future looks like it's a possibility, which I never thought it could be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I do watch a lot of long form YouTube still, but when I get into bed and I want to wind down, I'm just scrolling shorts.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lot of people do. I don't ever just put on a long form video in bed, but I will put it on during the day when I'm like working or having coffee. Yeah, I'm super curious about people's habits because I do sometimes wonder if I should be doing more long form because I know the CPMs are way better, but it's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm into bite-sized humor since I started out doing comics, and those are only 3, 4 panels.
Do you have an ideal short form length, whether it's 5 seconds, 10, 15, 20, 30? Have you noticed differences in views and revenue based on the length? Yeah.
Honestly, I have, and again, well, I'll repeat that I don't have data I can read for you, but I've noticed that if they're too short, they don't spread, and I don't know if it has to do with humor or if the algorithm doesn't like it. If they're too long, they don't spread. I would say 15 to 25 seconds is my sweet spot. Usually it's enough time to have a joke set up that grabs you but doesn't drag on, and then a good payoff. And then if you thought it was funny, I've seen a lot of people will watch my videos twice, and I don't know if that's because they're just so short you need to watch them twice, or if it's like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Let's watch it a second time with the new pair of eyes. But the longer ones, people don't finish. I've seen a lot of the longer ones that it shows that people aren't finishing them. But I've had some of those do really well. And it's usually due to some emotional, whether it's funny or like sentimental. And yeah, for some reason, the like 7 to 10 second ones usually don't do very well. And I don't know why. I don't know why there's a correlation there.
Based on that, Ryan, do you find yourself subconsciously making shorter jokes longer to fit in that 15 second and longer jokes shorter to fit into that 15 seconds, or do you not think about that?
I don't always think about shortening the longer ones because if there's substance, that's why they get long. But I have, yes, I've had jokes that were really short and thought, I wonder if I could like throw in a twist at the end here. And sometimes it actually makes it better. With my comics, I do these things called bonus panels where I'll do the comic, and then if you go to the comment section, you can see an extra panel that I put in there just as like candy for the viewer. And sometimes when I'm writing when I come up with a short that's only going to be 7 or 8 seconds, I'm like, okay, what would a bonus be for this? And if it's funny, I'll make that the new punchline, and it makes it a little longer. And yeah, I think so. Yeah, to answer your question, yes, I will sometimes worry that a joke is too short.
With YouTube and the algorithms nowadays, how important is it to have each piece of content you create be like your best stuff? Is that still very needed, or can you sort of put things together, post it, and let the algorithm do its thing? And if it's not your best work, so be it. Don't delete it. Just or don't even not upload it. Upload it anyways. Or do you believe that everything should be your best work and it's a huge quality over quantity?
I approach it as quality over quantity myself, which is why if I could do a short every single day if I didn't care about the content. But the reason I only get 2 or 3 per week out is because I do reject a lot of jokes. I've definitely put stuff out before where I've thought, I just want to have something posted today. This one made me chuckle. Let's see what happens. And I've had it fall flat. I leave it up because you never know. But I do think approaching it as quality over quantity is important, at least for my work. That said, I have had things that I've put up thinking it was garbage or filler or not. I would never put up what I thought was garbage, but I've put something up where I'm like, this is only going to make me laugh, and that's all that matters, and have it just do crazy good. And it's like, well, apparently, like something that I was able to animate in 2 hours, which is like unheard of for me. I've definitely put something up that only took 2 hours to animate and had it do way better than something that took me 2 days to animate because it was 40 seconds.
Mm.
But yeah.
So I guess you would never be holding yourself back from creating too much good stuff. If it's good, you're putting it out there, and based on your current output, you can create something good every maybe three a week.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. It's always, I think that as long as I believe I'm doing my best, I justify posting something. But when things don't do well, that means, does that mean objectively it wasn't good and I shouldn't have posted it? I don't know. I think if I ever go, I shouldn't have posted that. I knew it wasn't going to do well and it didn't. Then that's a sign that I knew better. But when I think it's going to do well and it doesn't, it's like, well, I showed up and did my job, and if it didn't work out, I leave it up. It's very rare that I will delete something that I've posted.
Got it. I guess a great metaphor would be, let's say from a podcast I film, let's say from this conversation, there's the route one of just like squeezing the hell out of it and getting like 15 clips out of it. And within the 15, there'll be five that I think are really good. There'll be another 10 that I'm like, I'm not too sure, but let's put it out there anyways. I already put in the time and effort to have this conversation and have 15 out there versus just uploading the five of the 15 that I thought were really good.
Yeah.
Which one would generate more views and revenue for YouTube Shorts?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. I don't know. What I don't understand about the algorithm is, do I get I would really like to know the answer to this, by the way. Do I get punished for the shorts that
Yeah.
don't do well? Does
Yeah.
the algorithm think, "Oh, he's fallen off now?" If I if I knew that the algorithm didn't care and just pushed what was good, I might just shotgun it and put everything out.
Hmm. I guess we don't know the answer. Yeah, that's what I've been thinking. Yeah. Oh. Do you have a gut feeling by any chance? But with your 2 years of short form experience for that answer, yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, I would only put out the five best in your specific scenario. I would only put out the five that I felt most confident in. But for all you, for the best you know, one of those ones that you thought was rejected could be the one that took off for some reason.
That's true.
Yeah. The thing is, if it was as easy for me, if creating 15 shorts just meant clipping from a longer one, I probably would put them all out. But the fact that I have to spend 9 hours per 18 seconds of animation, I really have to scrutinize.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so painful when my shorts don't do well. Is I'm putting a lot of work into each short, and that's what makes it feel so stupid when one that I didn't put effort into does so well. It's like, wow, should I just be not putting effort in?
What's your funnel like? Are there shorts that's you've put in, say, 3.5 hours, and you're like, actually, this one isn't worth spending another 5.5 hours to complete. I'm gonna, like, how far would things go until it's like, okay, it's this far, it's gonna make it to the end?
I definitely haven't. I have not yet rejected something mid production, but I have definitely realized my vision for the animation didn't need to be ambitious. Whether it's realizing that animating a simple head turn and like dropping an arm would not make the joke any funnier. So I go, he's just going to stand with his arm down already the entire scene. You know what I mean? I did a lot of over animating in the early days because I do love the art of animation. I think I got sidetracked because it made me think of Family Guy. Whether you like Family Guy or not, when you watch the show, you're laughing at the jokes and you know that you can watch the animation. They cut every corner possible,
Mm,
but it's done in a way that it doesn't make it seem cheap. And so I try to do that. So yeah, I guess in your scenario that you asked, if I thought this doesn't deserve another 5 hours of animation, I might just quickly try to figure out what I could cut out to keep it shorter. But yeah, usually if I'm going to reject something because it's not a good enough joke to take a day or two to animate, it doesn't even make it to production.
mm.
I can usually tell right away if I would lose faith in it or not.
So is it as simple as you do the brainstorm dump? You write a bunch of jokes. Maybe it takes one day, maybe it takes 2 days. You find something that clicks, you're like, hey, I really like this. The moment you say that, it's 9 hours in and you've committed.
Yeah, yeah. If I like it, are you asking Sorry, what's the question? I think I'm
Yeah, I
not
guess the
sure I
question was,
followed.
I would have thought maybe you would have chose three that you like. You maybe would have started working on the three. You're like, oh, actually, these two aren't as good as I thought, so I'm just going to commit to the third one.
Oh,
Versus maybe you just spend 9 hours on all three that you said, hey, this is a good joke.
yeah. I don't usually work on more than one short at a time. So if it's made it to production, I believed in it. And usually it has to do with it making me laugh. Like I genuinely want to enjoy the content. I like to make content that I would myself want to watch. So yeah, I if I'm working on something, it's past the ultimate test. Now the new test is it gonna is it worth any, do I scale down or scale up? I've actually scaled up before where I thought something deserved a more dramatic angle to sell a joke. And it that might require redrawing a background from a new angle, and I suck at drawing backgrounds because I don't really think I'm that great of an artist. But I don't care. I consider myself a writer first. So yeah, I've definitely added to my plate before because I thought a more dramatic delivery would be funnier, or dramatic audio instead of just straightforward audio. Let's get some thunderclaps in the background and a dramatic synthesizer swell to make it build tension. Yeah, I will always scale back if I can though.
Got it. Because I'm so curious of the process on how you go about picking the one that you like. I know the main criteria is if it makes you laugh. So let's say
hmm
you brainstorm 100 random crappy jokes, two or three of them make you laugh. You like one of them really a lot, so you go ahead and commit and produce that one. After you complete that one, are you more likely to now maybe work on the other two? Or are you more likely to now write another set of 100 crappy jokes and restart that process?
Okay, that's an awesome question because I've encountered both scenarios. A lot of times, if I boil it down to three that make me laugh, there must be a reason I picked one of them of the three. But there will be a time where I'm like, all three of these are great. And I just pick the one that's going to make me feel best in that moment to animate. And yeah, I might move on to the other one the next day. There have definitely been many times, though, where I boiled it down to three jokes and I picked one. And then by the time I was ready to start another one, I lost the love for those other two. And so I'll start a new writing session. But I've also revisited them weeks later and been like, that's why I liked that one. Okay, we're going to do this one now. But if I have lost faith in the moment, I'm not gonna animate it. It's kind of it's like a living library of jokes because nothing's ever truly rejected or chosen. I mean, I'll sometimes look at jokes I've totally finished animating and been like, why did I like that one so much? So, but once it's already animated, it's alive.
And what's your current storing process? Like, do you have just like a piece of paper from every single day that you dated and circled the ones, and you just go back and see the ones you've circled? Do you store everything? Do you categorize on things that you might come back to? How do you store all these potential jokes?
So currently, all of my writing has been digital. So I have folders that are named by date, and they're full of the the quick sketch file. I also it's in here somewhere, but I have back when I did it all on paper. I have a box that's got a stack this tall of papers that's all just comic ideas because for like the first 8 years I was doing comics, I was just writing on paper, writing my jokes on paper. So I have, yeah, and I don't, I honestly, man, I should be categorizing better, but I don't. So I will look through my joke list and run into jokes I've already done before all the time. And I think it's fun to revisit the original version of the comic, even if it's not usable again. It fires something in my brain that keeps me in that mood, if that makes sense. So I actually don't mind that I have to sift through used jokes to get to the unused jokes. It makes everything feel fun again.
I love that.
It really is all about feeling for me. I'm bad with numbers, I'm bad with organization. I know those aren't good excuses. I should be better about all that, but everything is about feeling, and that's when things do best for me.
Yeah. As a feeler, does something I've been really practicing is just really understanding that hey, things have always worked out. If you sort of do what you love, the universe somehow just looks after you and always gives you that extra step you need to survive the next month. As long as you're sort of authentic to your true self. I struggle to deal with that stress. I'm trying to get better and get used to it. How have you been feeling, Ryan?
I struggle too. I really do. I do try to I do try to trust that the universe gives me what I need. I mean, sometimes that doesn't mean getting what I'm hoping will happen. Like the years when I was really hoping that my comics would do better and they didn't, I still would I would get freelance jobs at my doorstep. I didn't have to search very long to get freelance. Sometimes I wouldn't search at all. There would just be I'd be really struggling and ad revenue would be down and then all of a sudden I'd get an email with a big freelance gig and it's like, okay, my content may not be popping, but like if the universe is truly listening, it's responding, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I try to be grateful for the things that are helping me even if they're not exactly what I was wanting to have help me because it can't always be exactly what I'm hoping for. I don't know if that makes sense.
Being in your dream spot that you used to dream about being able to do your own work full time, are you just happy to be here, or would you want to have a bit more savings, a bit more of a cushion, maybe a bit more
Mhm.
stability? What's your mindset like now? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to speak candidly about that, yeah, I did sacrifice. I think a lot of people would have, I don't know if maybe they were more sane. I someone smarter or at least I don't know how to put it. I sometimes feel pretty weird that I stuck with this as long as I did because I did sacrifice having a lot of savings or retirement figured out. I have friends who work studio jobs who are going to be just fine when they're 80. And I definitely have just stayed grinding and it's paying off in that I get to do what I want for a living, but I did sacrifice long-term what's the word? Security, comfort. It doesn't mean that it still can't happen for me. It's just it's been I've never been able to accept working on someone else's dream. And that has been more torture than I guess where I'm at now. Even when I've had the best jobs in the world, working for Explosum, that was a dream come true. I was a fan of theirs before I even did my own comics. Getting the job working for them was seriously like, I can't believe I get to work for these guys who I have idolized and they were as cool as I hoped they would be. But I would still work on their stuff thinking, why am I not the one? I'm working on their dream now. And it's so weird how it would make me feel so ungrateful to be having those resentful feelings of like, I'm just not a production artist. I want to be the creator. And that's I sometimes wonder would I have had an easier career if I just wanted to be a production artist. Why be so what's the word? Because I don't feel like a narcissist or like I have a big ego. So why do I feel like I deserve to be the content creator? You know what I mean? I mean, now that things are working out, it's really great, but I ground at it for a lot longer than I think a lot of people would let themselves do it. So, yeah.
Love that. Ryan, how do you go about going through that tough, long grind with, having a partner? Like, for example, my mother, when I would try to be honest with her and kind of be like, hey, mum, things aren't going well, she would not give me the support I was looking for, and she would beat me up a bit more. But, like, that's why
Mm.
you should have gotten a job, blah, blah, blah. So the current strategy has been just being like, yeah, mum, things are going well, things are going okay, and sort of selling it positively. And I guess even think if things aren't, the last thing I need is like her worry on top of things. What has been your approach, Ryan?
Well, I've been married a couple times now, and I've always had really supportive partners. My wife now, she is also an entrepreneur. She has her own photography business, and so we support each other in a lot this in very much the same way. So she's also someone who she was able to finally quit her day job a few years ago to pursue her photography full time. And it's really interesting how similar our lives were leading up to being able to pursue our dreams full time. So I think it's really been helpful in my current situation to be with someone who has the same dreams. I think if one of us or both of us realized we couldn't do this anymore to support ourselves, we would know that we need to change up and figure out new careers. I've never been unwilling to do what I need to do to make ends meet. So yeah, I've even in my previous relationships, my partners have always been very supportive because I've never been in debt. So even if I haven't had a big savings or a big retirement fund, I've always been able to get enough freelance to cover all the bills. I've always been able to pick up work here and there to cover everything. And so, yeah, I think that's probably why I've had supportive partners is I've never been a freeloader on a partner. I've never had a partner foot the bill for me, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. One thing I'm curious about, Ryan, is your animation process. Is it
Hmm.
like frame by frame? Are you, or is there like technology that you can move stick figures? What does animation look like from someone that has no idea what work it takes to make it?
Yeah. So a popular technique that is on TV all the time, even if you don't realize it, is something called cutout animation. Basically, all your characters are digital puppets, and you might animate some frames frame by frame to get specific movements you want, but you can also do what's called tweening, and you can pose the body this way, go 10 more frames, pose it this way, and it'll do the in between. It might not look good, so after you convert it to frames, you go in and add some flourish to it. That's just a really quick explanation of it. So, yeah, my characters are all pre-made, and I will add art if they need new art, change their clothing. But like when a character has a different shirt, I really am just going into my base model and changing it up. So that is actually really common. Even if you're watching Rick and Morty, they do a lot of traditional animation, I would assume, because you see stuff that isn't cookie cutter, but their base bodies are probably a puppet. Hmm.
Yeah, looking at Rick and Morty, like I'm rewatching everything from season one, probably for the third or fourth time, and every single sort of episode is just a banger that has this
Hmm.
lasting power, and you can rewatch it again and again. It's still good and fresh. In my mind, I'm like, did they have to churn through like 1,000 ideas to get down to the 50 episodes they have? Yeah, would you have any thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, I've thought about that too because I've it's always been a dream of mine. I would love to experience working in a writer's room because they basically I don't know how many people are in a room, but just say you have 10 creative comedic people in a room just firing off any idea, and whether it's funny or not, someone else could take the idea and make it even funnier. Like I bet it is just like a factory of jokes, and then you obviously have the people who specialize in story structure. So you're coming up with the story structure and you're inserting these jokes where they would fit in these scenarios that are being written. And I imagine they do throw out a lot and maybe save for other scenarios because there's jokes that could be, you'll see jokes in episodes that really could be used anywhere, and then you've got jokes that are specific to what's happening. And I'd be curious to see how they manage all that. I think it would be a dream come true to be in a writer's room just for a season of something.
Yeah. With the amount of people you reach through your comics, have you had any interesting opportunities or interesting people, directors or people in the film or TV industry reach out, or has any doors opened because of the mass reach you've been able to get?
So yeah, the Cyanide and Happiness crew that I mentioned earlier, I met them because they had shared my comics. This is before I was in animation full time, but they had shared my comics on their site, and I reached out and was just like, "Hey, thank you so much," and that opened up the dialogue there. And then I eventually met them at a convention and just said, "I heard you're going to be making a cartoon, a TV show. Can I apply to be a part of it?" And that interaction wouldn't have happened if it weren't for them knowing about my work first. You know what I mean? I bet you they got a lot of their millions of fans trying to get a job working for them. And that has happened a couple times. I did have a TV show. Oh my God, I'm trying to remember the name. Trip Tank. It was an animation variety show on Comedy Central, I think. And they reached out to me because they wanted to buy three of my jokes from me so they could turn them into shorts for their show. And that was cool. I'd never had that happen before. That was like in 2010, 2011, I think. I might be wrong about the dates, but yeah, so they bought the rights to three of my jokes, so they're not mine anymore, but they are on a TV show.
Wow.
And then I have a friend who was a writer on late night TV, and he reached out. I can't remember how we started talking, but he just told me TV writers know about internet comedy. You just don't hear from them. He's like, you've got a lot of people who've read your stuff before, and I thought that was really cool of him to say, whether it's true or not. But yeah, so that was cool. That was cool to meet someone who works in late night television, like a late show type thing, And now it's all. I feel like nowadays it's all interweaved. I'm sure there's internet people getting jobs and going back and forth, but at the time when he reached out to me, it was very special. It was a novel conversation, I guess.
Ryan, what's the most views you've gotten on one clip? I guess maybe we could do YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, let me look. Just I want to see if I don't know if there's anything that tells me I'm not allowed to talk numbers, but I had a short do 45 million views on YouTube. And yeah, is there something in terms of service? I don't know. I don't even know.
Oh, for
I don't
YouTube,
want to like what's that?
for YouTube revenue numbers.
Yeah, I don't have
Ah,
any experience. I wouldn't mind talking revenue number or YouTube revenue numbers, but I don't want to get demonetized or something weird like that.
I'm pretty
But let's
sure
just
on
say what sorry, what were you gonna say?
I'm pretty sure on YouTube and Facebook, and there isn't any terms of service for that because I've seen those like YouTube videos where they like share their screen and show the dashboard on their thing. But obviously, if you're uncomfortable, we can definitely not talk. But 45 million views, that's a ton. Is that on YouTube Shorts?
That's a YouTube one, yeah. And I would
Whoa.
say it was roughly per 10 million views. If I was giving a rough estimate there.
Oh. And
Yeah.
then how does that compare on Facebook?
I don't know for sure. They don't have the same analytics. Let me see if I can see. I don't know. Yeah, I'm less versed in the Facebook analytics because YouTube makes it pretty easy to just go to your content and see the top viewed content. I would say Facebook probably pays a little better, but I have a little harder time. Or no, it's sorry, opposite. Facebook doesn't pay as well, but I have an easier time getting views on Facebook somehow.
Got it.
So I make more money on Facebook usually than YouTube, but it's not because it's more because of Facebook is just spreading my stuff better. So it's less money per view, more views.
Well, is it the same videos? Is your whole YouTube catalog the exact catalog on Facebook?
Mm-hmm. The big difference is Facebook is kind of a machine. And I've noticed this from a lot of other creators too. You basically, after a year or two, I start reposting my old content. If I did that on YouTube, my numbers would flatline. YouTube does not like repurposed content, but Facebook seems to thrive on it. So I make more money there because I repost old stuff. And again, it helps me get new viewers too. So it serves a double purpose. Yeah, it's very interesting. Facebook feels a lot less personal. I like the YouTube interaction a lot more.
Upon reposting, do you edit anything or do you re-export the video or do you just repost the exact same video?
I've done both. I usually just post the exact same video, but there have been times where I'm like, I could probably add another little joke at the end here. It doesn't happen often, but I have done that before. But reading the comments on a reposted video, you would not know that it was a repost. It's mostly people seeing it for the first time. It's very crazy.
And then for the ones that you would add an extra joke to the end, would that now be okay to repost to YouTube or does YouTube still not like it because it can tell the first 80% of it is replicated on something that they somehow know you've already posted?
Yeah, I've actually done that and YouTube didn't like it. So, yeah, and I eventually went and deleted the original to see if it would help, and I can't totally tell if it helped. Things got better for that video, but it still didn't do the had that it still didn't have the potential I thought it could. So yeah, it's been a little iffy on YouTube. I try not to repost things. I will sometimes do compilations, and they used to do really well, and now when I've done compilations on YouTube, they do really poorly. So I'm worried they're cracking down even harder on reposts. And I'm talking like compilations of shorts. So I'll do like 3 shorts, but repost it as a short, like themed. I also do like long form where I'll take 30 shorts and call that a season. And those don't do super well, but they don't seem to be affected by being a repost. I'm not sure.
Hmm. When you do those 30 confirmations, is a video, do you just have black bars on the side because it's a vertical video?
Um, so you can actually upload a full length video as
Ah,
Yeah, so it'll look like it's letterboxed if you watch it on a desktop, but someone could watch the entire video on their app and it would look
oh.
like just a 10-minute long short. It's very, yeah, it's kind of cool.
And then, is it worth your time to repost onto like Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok? Yeah, any thoughts there?
I've never Snapchat has I seriously understand the Snapchat thing. I posted there for a little bit and got 0 views, and so I gave up. If it's better now, I should check it out. It's been like 3 years since I posted anything on Snapchat, but I do post things on Instagram. I mean, as a creator, I'm very confused by Instagram's relationship with creators because it's meta, so it should be the same. You would think it's the same thought process as Facebook, but they I have friends who say that they get paid on Instagram because they post a lot of images, but nobody I know personally makes any money from posting anime or posting reels or shorts. So I post there, but I post slowly so that I can slowly burn through my archive, you know. I used to get paid to do videos there, and no one I know makes videos from it, right, or makes money from videos, and I don't know why they don't do that. It seems a little weird.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's less of a priority for me, I guess.
With Facebook, are you able to shotgun it and just do a mixture of just like old versions, like version one, previous version, behind the scenes, like export 10 different variations of, um, will it hurt on Facebook? Any thoughts on shotgunning Facebook?
I don't think it hurts. No, I from what I've seen, yeah, it's. I mean, I don't really post. I mean, I mostly just post the same thing that I would post on YouTube, but the shotgun approach doesn't seem to be a problem on Facebook.
Hmm.
Yeah. And the difference with Facebook and YouTube is you get paid for your images and for your reels. So my feed is comics and videos, and YouTube, that's there's not really a benefit to posting comics there, but I will sometimes. So yeah, Facebook is definitely, I have a weird relationship with it because it feels less personal, but it's also more financially viable.
Yeah. Talking about comics, tell me about the comics at the moment, Ryan. Because I guess, yeah, what's the progress there? How does that play into your sort of weekly animations that you're constantly pushing out? Yeah.
So yeah, with my comics, I have like an archive of about 1,500 comics from 2008 to about 2021 when I stopped doing the comics full time to just focus on animation. And so I just post once or twice a day. I'll post an old comic, and I definitely shotgun those. I don't scrutinize quite as much because sometimes something will resonate. I have gotten rid of jokes that didn't age well, whether it's, I mean, not that I was making a bunch of risque comics or anything, but sometimes things are a little dated, like a joke about newspapers, and kids aren't going to understand that anymore. So just as an example. But yeah, I'll in my Facebook feed, I'll just post comics and then a short if I have one made, or I'll repost an old short, but I don't post them every single day. I haven't made new comics for a while. I think it would be fun to, as I still write comics as my, like I was telling you, that's the way I generate ideas, is writing comics. So, but there hasn't appeared to be a big benefit to spending the time making the comics. But I do have some jokes that I've done animations of that might be fun to take some time to make into a comic and see how they do.
What does it mean when you say you sort of write, 100 comics down? Is it literally like dog slips on a banana peel? Is that like, would that be, or would you be writing a very long description of that comic and you do that 100 times?
No, it's well, and to clarify, I don't do 100 jokes in a in a joke writing session. It'll be like maybe 10 or something, and I pick the best one if there is a good one. But it's um basically it's just three squares, and I just do a stick figure. That's what the comic is. So yeah, and so they have. I mean, it just looks like a comic strip. So it's a circle. It's just like a head. Yeah, I don't do a lot of details, so there'll just be, I'll just scribble what they're saying, and I basically just make it like it's a three-panel comic. And if I want to plan it further, if it's like, oh, this might be funnier with a fourth panel, I'll do a four-panel version. And that should only take me a couple minutes to do. and then that becomes basically the storyboard. I will sometimes copy and paste those into my animation file with the audio later.
Oh.
Yeah, I have before typed out like when I was telling you that I will brainstorm with ChatGPT sometimes. I will tell ChatGPT what my comic idea is and just yeah, so that in that way sometimes yeah, my comic is more of a script, but for the most part I just draw them.
Huh. Just so I can visualize a bit better, like with the random idea I threw out. Let's say the idea is a dog slips on a banana peel and the banana peel is actually alive, and it's like he replies, "Hey, what are you doing? I'm alive." Um, how do you draw that in three boxes?
Um, what do you mean how?
Like the idea, I can write it down and as I
Uh-huh.
verbally said it, but how would you draw that? Like, I guess the first box would be, oh yeah, I guess there's a dog stepping on a banana, and then you zoom in the banana, put some eyes and smiley on it, and then okay, I
Yeah.
guess, oh okay,
Yeah,
got
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay. So, sorry, I wasn't sure if you meant literally how would I draw. Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, you're just doing the visuals. I mean, that's what storyboards are. When you take someone's script, you're basically just making comics based on a script. So, and if I right away knew that your script you gave me was longer than 3 panels, I'd just make 6 panels. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Yeah. So you just give yourself enough space to tell the joke visually.
and is there a reason why drawing it out in panels is more efficient than just having me verbally say, dog slips on banana peel that turns alive, and then go to the next idea versus spending minutes to draw that out?
I think for me, it's there's like a feeling. Like I can feel out the joke because for me, a lot of the joke comes from the visuals as well. I definitely do sometimes write the way you're talking. If the joke's going to be very dialogue heavy and I've like maybe I'm washing dishes and I think of a funny thing one of my ghost characters might say, I might go type that up and just say, Tall Ghost says this, Lil Ghost replies this, and yeah, so I mean a lot of I don't know if you're familiar with my ghost characters, but I write most of the ghost stuff without comics. I do a lot of just writing because they're dialogue heavy. But a lot of other times it'll just my jokes will come from me drawing comics. And honestly, if I didn't start out doing comics, this might not be the way I write. If I was going to write a TV show, I don't think I would do it in 3 panel increments. But it's just an easy way for me to come up with the beats.
Have you noticed any like a community brewing in the background, like a cult following, people that are showing up every single week? Is that something that has naturally formed or you've intentionally done? Tell me about community building.
Yeah. I would say the community building has come from things perceived as inside jokes, and they really are inside jokes with my viewers and readers, but they've sort of come on accident in a lot of ways. One big way that there's been community building has been from my most popular character on my YouTube channel is called Lil Ghost, and he's just a tiny ghost. And my viewers seem to really enjoy him. So the Lil Ghost shorts might not spread very well at large on YouTube, but they get the best reception critically from the comment section. My regular viewers love Lil Ghost, even if the shorts don't do well for me financially. It feels really good to have my regulars enjoy it. And then the other one will come from there was a like I was telling you about the bonus panels that I do on Facebook. I don't remember why it took off, but I had a joke about time travel. And in the bonus panel, I have the kid saying, Future me must have invented time travel. And I don't remember the comic to tell you the context, but people will post that as a meme in the comment section. And it's become an inside joke with the people who read my comics. Or they'll even just say the text, Future me must have invented time travel. So the community has come from like just really dumb inside jokes that I kind of don't remember the genesis of. Or misspelling the word bonus, because I'll say bonus and post the bonus panel. People will misspell the word because I did one time. And I spelled it Bonsu, Bonsu instead of US. And that has become an inside joke where I'll even just call it a Bonsu when I post it. And like I know those don't sound like community building things, but having an inside joke with a million people definitely feels like we're all in on the same joke together.
Wow. Are people grabbing onto, the Ryan Hudson cartoon sort of character you have? Are they grabbing onto the little ghosts and characters you've built? Are they grabbing onto Your face? Do they know? Are they familiar with your face? What are who do they know you like for? Like what are they grabbing onto?
Lil Ghost is definitely the most, at least on YouTube, Lil Ghost is the most popular thing. I have occasionally posted behind the scenes shorts that have my face. But I did one just the other day, and even longtime viewers were like, "Wow, face reveal." And it's like, "Oh, you've been here long enough, you should have seen my face by now." So I'm not doing it often enough, or those videos don't spread very well and they didn't see the first one, you know? So I guess people aren't recognizing my face to the degree that I would have assumed from how much behind the scenes content I put out. But yeah, I would say the art style is recognizable and Lil Ghost seems to be recognizable. I mean, to be totally honest, I don't even, art style is something I've stuck with because you kind of have to do what's memorable. I sometimes think it could have been anything else and I wouldn't care. Like, I like playing with art styles, and I think if I ever did like an animated show, I would probably try a different art style. But I stick with the one I've got because people recognize it and I'd like it to stay recognizable. But I don't really have a personal love for the art style. It's just what I do. It's kind of interesting to realize that sometimes.
With your art style, did you take inspiration from anything or yeah? Because it's quite a because I remember when I was in high school and I'd search up like 2D games, the whole stick figure wars, all these things. It was a very popular art style. I don't know where it originated from, but tell me a bit about your art style and the origin behind it.
Yeah, it's kind of a honestly, it's a dorky story when I think about it. I was you really ought to look up Explosum and Cyanide and Happiness sometime because they're very popular. They were they were like back when I first got into webcomics, there weren't a lot of webcomics. And they were one of my favorites. And I just thought I don't want to look like I'm ripping them off. So I thought instead of dots for eyes like theirs, I would have circles for eyes. And instead of stick figures, I would make mine simple but fleshed out. So I really designed my initial comic design. I just didn't want to look like I was ripping off Cyanide and Happiness because of how much I liked them. I was afraid I would, if that makes sense. I already was an artist, and I'd done comics as a kid, but I just wanted to do something simple, and I mistook simplicity with sloppy. So my initial like 6 months of doing my comics, they were really poorly drawn because I thought, well, Cyanide and Happiness is sloppy. They weren't sloppy. They were just simple. So my artwork is very clean now and it's still simple, but yeah, I just was trying to avoid ripping them off on accident. So I thought I would very deliberately come up with a web comic looking art style. Sometimes it makes me laugh that I ever thought there was a web comic art style, but yeah, I think I would do things differently if I started over, just art style wise. But that's just because I've had 17 years doing this.
Yeah, if you were to do a new TV show, what art style would you go down, you reckon? Is there, like, would you ever do anime art style or, like, yeah, what type of art style would it be?
I don't know if it would be anime. I do have, I mean, I have some other characters that people haven't really seen that I work on privately, and they usually are more fleshed out, actually have ears and noses in a lot of cases. Because, making things simple, just like circles and no ears, no noses. I think I would be a little more detailed, but I still would try to keep it simple. Thinking of shows that are on the Cartoon Network and stuff. I wouldn't want to copy anybody, but I would have things look a little more general appeal, I guess,
Yeah, Ryan, when
but
you
still
brought
feel
up,
like me somehow.
makes sense. When you brought up the little ghost and how your audience really loves it and you would sort of do it for your fans, but it might not do as well. It reminded me of all the Rick and Morty episodes of like them trying to stick to canon versus episodic, like just random episodes. Any thoughts on that? Do your characters grow? Do they progress? Or does it reset every single short as if it's like a sitcom?
Yeah. So when it comes to Lil Ghost and the characters related to that character, they do grow. I have tried to progress their story, not in any planned way. I don't have a big map of Lil Ghost's arc, but I try to keep in mind what's already happened with those characters and make sure they aren't just doing the same thing over and over. And that's been really fun. And I think it's been noticeable for the people. who are fans of those characters. When it comes to the rest of my jokes, it's definitely sitcom style. I'll use different character designs for different scenarios just to keep the variety. And I will go back and watch old shorts and not realize I used the same character for two conflicting stories. And it's like, well, that's just got to be how it is. This guy has been married and not married in, you know what I mean? Like a character that has kids and then in another short doesn't have kids. That kind of stuff. I don't like to do that on purpose, but it's happened quite a bit.
Oh. How many different characters do you have, Ryan?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's because really they initially were just designs to drop in for jokes. And then when I realized, oh, I've used this exact design like 10 times, that's a regular character. Why doesn't he have a name? You know?
Yeah, yeah. Oh. And I guess, yeah, Ryan, I guess what would be the next chapter for you? Is it just rinse, repeat, three awesome, funny jokes per week, refine that process as much as you can? Hopefully things keep stacking, maybe hire in help, freelance help for different little things that you might not enjoy. What does the next chapter look like, Ryan?
Yeah, that's an awesome question because if I'm being totally honest, I had always wanted to do animation, but I was afraid to jump into animation because the comics were working, even if they weren't working as well as I'd like.
Hmm.
And so I wish I had jumped into animation sooner. So I think about that a lot and I think, okay, what's the thing I keep pushing off into the future because animation's what's working. And I have series ideas and I would like to prioritize them somehow and not have it be another 10 years when I finally take the jump and see that do so well. It's like, why didn't I do a series before? So, yeah, I have two different series ideas that I'd really like to do, and I just need to figure out how to fit them into my schedule so they don't take away from what's paying the bills, but that they also don't get put on the back burner forever like they currently are.
Mm.
And in addition to that, music is probably my biggest passion, and I've wanted to incorporate music into my channel better. And I release music periodically on my channel. I need to figure out how to incorporate music more because I love it, and I think it'd be cool to have a cartoon. One of the cartoon ideas I'm mentioning is a musical cartoon, so I definitely need to prioritize it because it's one that I think I've been kicking around for at least 4 years now. Is this musical cartoon idea, and I've even released a couple of the songs that were meant for that show because I was like, well, if the show's not going to happen, I still want the world to hear these. And so they're on my YouTube channel. So yeah, to answer your question, I need to figure out what I'm afraid to jump into and just jump into it because that's what happened with animation. I should have jumped into this 5 years earlier than I did.
I love that. Talking about music, I have a friend that's working on something. I don't know if you have any context or if this is an idea. He would buy existing music, he would create random Family Guy shorts, put that music on that short. It would usually just get millions of views just because, Family Guy is this IP that everyone recognizes and it's a already well written clip that he just clipped from an episode.
Hmm.
The clip would get demonetized or copyright strike because that's a copyright music that he owns, and all the revenue for that 2-3 million views would now get paid to him because he owns that song. And I'm guessing the reason why you go through all that effort would be the CPMs on the song should be, I guess, the exact same CPMs of a YouTube video, if not more. Or I don't know why he would go through that loop. Yeah, any ideas on how that might work?
No, that's fascinating to me. I actually want to look into this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That would be incredible to, yeah, I need to find out uh what your friend's doing there.
Yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, imagine if you just created your own songs and you copyrighted them and you used them and you just paid yourself.
What in the world? Yeah, that's cool. I that had never crossed my mind to be totally honest.
Yeah.
That's a really cool idea. I appreciate you sharing that.
Tell me about the series ideas. Are you thinking like a 22-minute episode long thing and then like 10 episodes a season? Is that what you mean by series?
Yeah, I'm thinking more like the old classic Adult Swim cartoons where they were 11-minute episodes. So instead of having an A story and a B story, it's just an A story. Because a lot, 22-minute episodes usually have two stories happening at once to stretch out over that time. So yeah, for my ideas, they're both 11-minute stories. If they have a B plot, it's very loose. But yeah, I think it would be fun. The thing that I would like to try to do is at least get a pilot done for each of these that I like. And I still think if there's a way that I could be able to chop them up into shorts effectively and not make it look like an afterthought, I think it would be cool to still release these as shorts. And I also hope that my viewers will be okay with them being different. I don't want to lose subscribers because it's jarringly different or something, but I think it would be okay. It'll be different art style, slightly different pacing of storytelling. I just need to not be afraid and just try it, you know?
Would you wanna try then sell it to like a streaming platform like a Netflix, or would you wanna just upload the 11-minute onto YouTube and just rely on YouTube long form ad rev? What would be the plan for the series, you think?
I think what I would have to do to be realistic about my content is I would like to post it on my YouTube channel and have that be the original goal. And if I was approached by someone like Netflix, I would absolutely entertain that. That would be amazing. But if I make that the goal and that doesn't happen, I don't want to see this as a failure. I want to be able to milk it or squeeze the life out of it in my own way. I think my first goalpost needs to be make a short a series that I can self-produce. And you mentioned earlier, being able to hire freelancers for the parts of the job I don't like doing. That is something I would love to do. I'm not quite there financially, but if I could get to the point where I have someone else do the lip syncing, like believe it or not, I spend the most time on my shorts syncing lips, and it just matters to me. I know people who do they cut corners with lip syncing, and I think that's awesome if that works for them. But I think the more on point the lips look, the more forgiving people are about your animation not being super animated. So I try to get all the mouths to look amazing, and then I just move stuff around the mouths. Move it's so yeah. If I could have someone else do lip syncing, that would save me so much time.
How does, yeah, I'm actually curious behind the scenes. How does, because it's not something I like watching Rick and Morty this morning. I wasn't looking at the mouth and lip sync. How particular is it? Just like open, close, or for different words, will it close a certain amount? What does lip syncing look like behind the scenes?
Yeah. For me, it's I have a different mouth shape for each basically vowel sounds. It's the vowel sounds is what we see. So
Oh,
I have like an ooh and an ah and a like the S's and T's look the same, and then I have one for F's and then for M's, and I have one in smiling, neutral, and in frowns so that I can apply them to all the different emotions. And then if I give someone just like stern eyebrows and an angry mouth, like it looks more animated than you think, you know? If all of the acting is just in the voice and you don't see it visually, there's a disconnect. So I think I've actually had people compliment me on how expressive my characters are. And it's not that I'm making their expressions move around a lot. I just make sure whatever emotion is coming out of their mouth, you see it on their face very pointedly.
hmm.
And so yeah, that's what in lip syncing, basically, I open my file and before I start animating anything, I just have their mouth on screen and I'm making it talk. And I add a little bit of extra detail in if it's going to be like an open mouth. I go to the frame after and just give it a little twitch. So it's an open, it like snaps open instead of just going open.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I do that on every extreme shape and it makes it look alive. Like when I miss that step, it just kind of looks like it's snapping shape to shape.
Huh.
Yeah.
And then I guess you're doing it for every single word because every single word might have a different vowel. So
Hmm.
wow. So that's very manual, one by one, every second, half a second,
Yeah.
third. Yeah.
And there are some automatic dialogue plugins you can get, even for the app that I use for animation, but it's always looked lifeless to me. And I might be making more work for myself, but I value the way it looks, I guess.
I see. Would you, if you were to start releasing these series, would you release on the same Ryan Hudson channel? Is it smart to create a second channel just for the series? What's your thoughts there? Right.
Well, uh, so that's a good question that I've thought a lot about because my channel used to be called Channelate and my comics were called Channelate. And I wanted to stop using that name because I thought if I go by my own name, I can do whatever content I want because people are just there to see what I create. So I like the idea of releasing these shows on my own channel, but just different show names. But I have thought about like with Lil Ghost. I've thought Lil Ghost could probably really thrive with his own channel, but starting from the ground up, I don't know what that would look like. Like I have 1.4 million subscribers on YouTube. That took a long time.
Mm.
And if I can't recreate that a second time, I mean, you have to build up to the monetization stage with every channel. So, I mean, and I'm experiencing this now because I am paying a group to translate all of my shorts into Spanish.
Mm.
And I've been working with them now since January, and I have not made a dime from the videos. And it's not their fault. Their translations are amazing, and it's just not growing the same. And so it's made me realize, like, I believe in my content. I believe in it, I've signed off on everything. I'm having them translate all the funniest stuff first. It's getting good responses to the people watching it, but it's just not growing very fast. And so I have the fears of like, okay, so imagine I did that with Lil Ghost and just made Lil Ghost a Lil Ghost channel. What if it takes more than a year for it to even get up to 10,000 subscribers? So I think for now, I'm going to be posting any series I do on my channel.
Mm.
And I guess my point to bringing up the Spanish stuff is before that, I think I would have thought, yeah, each series will have its own channel, but just experiencing this grind of the Spanish channel not doing the numbers I thought or hoped, I'm like, okay, maybe I keep everything where I'm making. I mean, it's not always about the money, but like I do need to make a living.
Yeah. So with the Spanish dilemma, there's sunk cost fallacy. You've already in, 10 months since Jan, if that's when you start at the beginning of the year. Do you keep going? Do you pull the plug? What's your thought process there?
I need to I need to figure out what is my limit and when I need to pull the plug. Because when I was doing my shorts in English, like my regular channel, there was like a 2-year period where I was making zero money from Facebook or from YouTube, but I was making my money from Instagram because at the time Instagram paid for videos. Facebook and TikTok was a trickle, but I was still making money there. It wasn't great money, but I was surviving, and I was posting on YouTube only because I wanted to stay relevant. I wasn't getting the views, I wasn't getting monetized. And then one day it clicked, and I went from 20,000 subscribers to 200,000 subscribers in a few months, and the views were going through the roof. And it was really just because I never stopped posting.
Mm.
And then it took a year from 200,000 to a million subscribers. It took a year to get there. So I guess there's a part of me that hopes with the Spanish channel that there will be a day where like when things clicked for my channel initially, people were going back and looking at the old shorts and everything just got a new life. So that's why I haven't given up on the Spanish channel yet, even though it has been a sunk cost, like you said. Yeah, it's hard to know. The cool thing is I will own the videos forever. I had the translations that I bought. So if I decide to make a giant compilation of all the Spanish videos and put that on my regular channel, I just don't want people to unsubscribe. If I start releasing the Spanish shorts on my regular channel, people might get confused about what they're subscribed to, and I just don't want to lose subscribers. But if I put like maybe a couple compilations out of like, hey, here's my Spanish translated shorts, maybe that would be a way to give the translations a new life. But for now, the channel's growing. It's just very slow. So
Makes sense. Tell
yeah.
me about behind the name Channel 8. Why Channel 8? Why was that a thing? Yeah, the number 8.
Yeah. So it was actually Channel 8 ATE. I wanted it to be like a late show, so it was Channel Late. It was
Mm.
I blame that on my youth. I came up with that in my early 20s.
Yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't originally meant to be the name of the comic. I wanted to have the website name Channelate was just going to be the channel where I post cartoons and comics, and I didn't have any plans for what the comics were going to look like. And when I started posting comics to channelate.com, they started taking off immediately. That it's the same thing with my YouTube channel and stuff. Like even when my content hasn't necessarily made me a lot of money, I've always gone viral somehow. So I think my jokes are good. I've always just assumed that's why, because I was 23 when I started channelate.com, and the comics took off immediately. So they didn't have a name. They were just my comics on Channel 8. And so then that name ended up becoming the name of the comic. And I always hated that because that was not the plan. And then I eventually was like, why did I call it Channel 8? Like the Channel Late thing is so dumb. So yeah, like 4 or 5 years ago, I finally dropped the name altogether. But um, yeah, that's the genesis of the name. I don't think it was very clever, to be honest.
So it'll be L, the letter 8, T E.
Yeah, there was no number in the name, but
Like just L.
it was just Channel Late. But I
Oh,
wanted to sound like you were saying Channel 8.
got it.
Like a little play on words, but it was stupid. It was just stupid.
That's a cool origin story. Ryan, we usually wrap up these podcasts with these two questions.
Okay.
One, any recent discoveries that you've implemented to your life?
Like outside of what I do or something, or
I
what do you
guess
mean?
outside, inside. I guess the last thing that you've added to your routine that you're now routinely doing. It could be for work, personal health, workflow, um, idea brainstorming strategies, meditation. Yeah.
Well, it's a really good question, and I'm just trying to think. Something recent I've added to my life.
Or I guess the last thing.
Right. Okay. So something I've been doing the last few years that was not really in my life before then. I have been meditating more, and getting into meditations has been awesome, and it does make me feel like a different human, I guess. And I don't know if my comedy's gotten different from that or if my comedy would always have been different, but I'm a big fan of David Lynch, and he's not the reason I started meditating, but when I started meditating, I also bought a book of his called Catching the Big Fish, and he talks a lot about how meditation is how he keeps himself creative. And he says his ideas don't come from meditation, but it primes his mind. It makes the well ready to fill. And yeah, so that's definitely something and I need to do more of it. I fall out of the habit just like any other exercise. But yeah, meditation's relatively new to my life, even if it has been a few years now.
What type of meditation do you do? Do you just like set a timer for 10, 15 minutes and try to clear your mind? Do you just focus on your breathing or do you just observe your thoughts? What type of meditation do you do?
Yeah, I do a couple different kinds. One of them, so I learned these breathing exercises. There's a guy named Wim Hof, and they call him the Iceman because he can warm his body up just by meditating into warmth, and his story is really cool. But he has a breathing exercise that you can look up on YouTube where he counts the breathing, does these deep breaths, and I will sometimes do his breathing exercise, and then once it's over, I just keep laying still and just yeah, try to clear my mind as much as I can. It's so hard because your mind wants to wander, but doing his breathing exercise, it kind of puts you in a meditative trancey state. And then another meditation that I've been really big on, but is less about mindfulness, it's called Gateway. This guy named Robert Monroe did these meditations to like do out of body experiences. And I've never been able to get out of my body in the way he says you're supposed to, but I found his meditations to be so awesome. And they're hilarious because they're recorded back in the 60s or 70s and they sound like it. They sound very dated. But the more of his meditations you do, he stops walking you through them all, so it gets to the point where you do the steps he normally walks you through yourself. Because his goal is to eventually remove himself from your meditation. So the first meditation you do with him, he walks you through everything. And then eventually he's walking you through less and less. And then eventually you're just doing the meditation with these things called binaural beats going, where you hear a different tone in each ear. It sounds very woo woo, but it's actually really cool. And I've done a lot of his meditations, and I find a lot of value in it. And I think anyone in general should do meditations, but I think more creative people, if they aren't meditating, should give it a try.
Got it. Is it Robert? Monroe, Monroe.
Yep, that's him.
Okay, gateway meditation. Very cool. And the last question we usually wrap these up with is, do you have any personal goals or focus for the next 6 months that isn't work related?
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, that that's a good question because the answer I was about to say could still be taken as work. Because when I have a job that is also related to my hobbies, I really want to. I want to write and record music more, and I want to not have to. I don't want it to have to be part of, like how I was saying. I'd like to incorporate music into my work. I need to let go of that, and I want to start doing more music for fun. So yeah, I'll to answer that. Outside of work, I have a friend who is a singer-songwriter locally, and we want to start collaborating and playing local clubs, doing some not duets, but he'll play guitar while I play bass, and I'm live performance is not something I've done much of. So outside of work, I want to start performing music and maybe some comedy stuff live instead of on the internet, and I think that would be really fulfilling. And I don't want to stress about it being a moneymaker at all. I just want to do it for the love of entertainment.
I love that, Ryan. Ryan, where can our viewer get more of you?
Yeah, so Ryan K. Hudson on YouTube. I prefer people to look me up on YouTube, but if you're a Facebook person, it's still under the name Channelate, Channelate. And my name is in parentheses after that, only because Facebook has not let me change my name. I don't know why. So find me at those two places. Anywhere else, it's Ryan K. Hudson. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Yeah, that's where you find me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time today, Ryan. I learned so much on what it takes to animate, and like it's so cool just digging into behind the scenes. I love how you've been able to really go all in and stick to doing what you love, and it sort of inspired me to, like, given me more hope that I can sort of figure out how to monetize and do what I love. And yeah, I love how creative and inspirational that your journey has been. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, appreciate the kind words, and thanks for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
Guys, if you made it this far, hopefully you guys got a ton of value. Please let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys next week on another episode of the podcast. Peace.